Good morning. So now we're moving away from geometry. You will not have to do IXL on surface area or volume. We're going into powers and roots, talking specifically about exponents. So today we're going to focus on negative exponents as well as zero exponents. As always, please complete your do now, watch this screencast, complete the Google form, and then complete your reflection when you're done. I just want to start with a review of exponents that we talked about this year. Remember, if you have the negative in parentheses, -4 to the second power would be -4 times -4, which is 16. -4 to the third power, same thing. It's -4 times a -4 times a -4. In this case, it's a -64. And the last example, 4 to the second power, would just be 4 times 4, or 16. Okay, that is just an example of what we did in terms of exponents this year. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about powers of 10. So if we wanted to break down 4,327 into thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones, let's look at what the exponent tells us. So if we did 4,000, it would be 4 times 10 to the third, because 10 to the third is 1,000. 300 would be 3 times 10 to the second. 20 would be 2 times 10 to the first. So if you wanted to do the ones place, that would be 7 times 10 to the 0 power, because anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, and I'll talk a little bit more about this with the next example. Okay, so I am going to talk about investigating zero exponents. So if we have 2 to the n power and n is 5, it would be 2 to the fifth, which is 32. If I have 2 to the fourth, it would be 16. 2 to the third would be 8. 2 to the second would be 4. 2 to the first would be 2. So as you notice, what is happening as we go down with the exponent? You are essentially dividing by 2, right? So if you do 2 divided by 2, 2 to the 0 power is 1. So any non-zero number to the 0 power is always equal to 1. 0 to the 0 power we cannot unfortunately do, that is undefined. So even if I had a to the 0 power or x to the 0 power, it's still going to be equivalent to 1. Then we are going to move on to investigating negative exponents. So when you have an exponent that's negative, you actually drop the base into the denominator and the exponent becomes positive. So I'm going to show you an example. 2 to the third would be 8. 2 to the second is 4. 2 to the first is 2. We just learned that 2 to the 0 power is 1. Each time we go down, we are dividing by 2. So if I take 1 and divide it by 2, 2 to the negative first power becomes 1/2. And then if I take a half and divide it by 2, it becomes 1/4. The other way to do it is you can do 1, you drop the 2, the base to the denominator, and the exponent becomes positive. So it's 1/2 to the second power, or 1/4. 2 to the third, negative third power, same thing. It would be 1/2 to the third, or 1/8. As you go into the negative powers, you just keep dividing by 2. So I'm going to show you this one more time. Hopefully you will catch on. 4 to the third is 64. 4 to the second is 16. 4 to the first is 4. 4 to the 0 is 1. And now I get into the negative exponents. So it's going to be 1/4 to the first, or 1/4. 1/4 to the second, or 1/16. 1/4 to the third, or 1/64. So the very simple method to evaluating negative exponents, you drop the base into the denominator and the exponent becomes positive. So this would be 1/5 to the fourth. or 1 over 625. 8 to the negative second, it becomes 1 over 8 to the second if I write it with a positive exponent, or 1/64. 3 to the negative first, it becomes 1 over 3 to the first, or 1/3. 7 to the negative third becomes 1 over 7 to the third, and 7 to the third is 1 over 343. Okay, so for the next example, I don't want to evaluate, I just want to write using a positive exponent. So same thing, I'm just going to drop the base down to the denominator and make the exponent positive. So it's 1 over 2 to the fourth. Same thing, drop the base to the denominator, so it's 1 over 1 to the third. The next one, drop the base, the 4 down to the denominator, make the exponent positive. And the last one, same thing, base down to the denominator, the exponent becomes positive. Now if I want to write it using a negative exponent, whatever is on the denominator, it comes up to the numerator, and the exponent becomes negative. So it's 24 to the negative 7th power. This is the hardest part of today's lesson. It's a fractional base with a negative exponent. So we apply the negative exponent to both the numerator and the denominator. And then we are going to reverse them to make them positive. So 4 to the negative fourth becomes the numerator as 4 to the positive fourth. 1 to the negative fourth becomes the denominator as 1 to the fourth. And then we evaluate. 4 to the fourth is 256 over 1 to the fourth, which is 1. So the answer is 256. Same with the next example. So I'm going to apply the -1 to both the numerator and the denominator, and then I'm going to reverse the order so they become positive. And 9 to the first power is 9 over 1 to the first power is 1, so the answer is just 9. Take a minute and see if you can figure out the last two examples. Hopefully when you evaluated these fractions with negative exponents, fractional bases, you got 81 for a third to the negative fourth, and for a seventh to the negative fourth, you got 2,401. Please try your best. If you need help, join me on Zoom at 11:30 a.m. Use the link you received in your email. If you did not get it, please email me. Please complete the Google form on zero and negative exponents. It is the same as yesterday, it's 10 points. But please do not forget the IXL. Many students forgot the IXL Z4 yesterday. That needs to be completed. Today's IXL that is assigned today and due today is 8th grade F6 and F7. It's going to count as a half of a minor grade. F6 is understanding negative exponents, and F7 is evaluating negative exponents. Have a good day.